If a man held me against my will and demanded I choose between only being able to play video games and not discuss them, or only being able to discuss video games and not play them, I wouldn't say anything. I'd just plug my Patreon. Thank you to my Patreon patrons whose generous contributions support the content I make more than YouTube does or likely ever will. If you'd like to support the growth and quality of this channel, as well as get credit at the end of my video, behind the scenes updates, and access to my exclusive monthly podcast at the top of the month, consider donating as little as just $1 a month. Patreon.com/slate. And then he'd shoot me. I've made many videos on this channel wherein I've pitched ideas and concepts for Nintendo games. In fact, not counting my Only Plays Animateds, my most popular video is the one where I pitched a Final Fighters Pass 2 trailer for Smash Ultimate. I mean, I even keep a Google document where I speculate on Nintendo's first-party release schedule from now until 2030, just for fun. I don't know, I just love coming up with specific ideas for new games. Especially from Nintendo for some reason. Probably has something to do with the curse.
We're cursing this baby to love Nintendo, we're cursing this baby to love Nintendo.
I have plans for videos that will center around focused, more fleshed out and specific individual game pitches in the future, but even still, I've got so many elevator pitches for new Nintendo games in my head that I just can't keep to myself anymore. So to help alleviate this very real, serious burden of mine, I've decided to make this video you're watching right now. 50 whole, distinct, unique pitches for random new Nintendo games. Let's get started. Who could that be?
Is there a baby in the house?
F-Zero X-100, a practically brand new F-Zero game taking cues from Link Between Worlds and CTR Nitro Fueled. It's a remake of F-Zero X expansion kit with lots of great new flourishes like animations in place of static victory images and stuff like that, but also new content like every pilot and machine from the F-Zero series to this point playable, returning, revamped, and remixed tracks from all across the series, online play, and even a new single-player campaign. That's how you celebrate what this series has accomplished, introduce it to the uninitiated, and demonstrate its potential without subjecting normies to the ridiculously dated elements of the otherwise stellar F-Zero GX. Paper Mario Collage Entourage. This'll be it, the Paper Mario game to bridge the gap between new and old Paper Mario. The story will center around an interdimensional rift of sorts amidst various alternate Mushroom Kingdoms differentiated by how they've been stylistically interpreted. The main paper one, a clay one, a photo one, a yarn one, maybe the origami and paper macho guys can return, why not? On a quest to repair the rift and save all the alternate kingdoms, Mario meets and recruits various partners from across the dimensions. So partners are back, with an asterisk. See, they'll still adhere to this weird new Paper Mario rule of not being original characters with names, but they'll also be fully customizable by you, the player. Draw and paint on them, stick things on them, name them, equip them with useful skills and battle moves, make your collage entourage truly your own. Project Cross Zone 3, a new entry in this Monolith soft-developed, turn-based tactics fighting game hybrid series that stars characters from across Namco, Capcom, Sega, and the Nintendo IP Smash Players 8. The hook this time around will be giant robots. Not only do the Cross Zone original characters modify their ship the Dragon Turtle to be a mech warrior, but famous giant robots from games like Cyberbots, Virtualon, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Armored Core, and even Intelligent Systems' long-neglected Battle Clash will be vital players in your party. V-Arms. Assuming Nintendo makes another VR-compatible console in the future, a first-person ARMS game would be perfect for it, especially if a couple characters from Teleroboxer are featured as playable as a nod to Nintendo's first foray into VR. Nintendo Remix. A $50 price tag-worthy follow-up to last gen's NES Remix games, this title takes the NES Remix formula and introduces stages from across Nintendo's entire console lexicon. New stages and challenges could be cycled in via updates either based on current relevant titles or just the retro ones on NSO. A Miiverse equivalent lobby of some kind where you can share high scores and drawings with stickers would also be appreciated. Sushi Sleuth. A sequel to Sushi Striker that frames the puzzle stages and monster collecting not around traversing a linear world map like the first game, but with an overworld, and the story, as implicated by the title, puts the player in the role of a detective. This way, the weirdly prominent lore and characters can integrate more gracefully into the gameplay, instead of being a kinda cute joke that quickly overstays its welcome. Super Smash Bros. Match Set. A fairly straightforward new Smash game whose hook this time around would be tag team gameplay a la Marvel vs. Capcom. Hence the double entendre in the title, Match Set, as in a fight being decided, match set, or match set as in a pair, a match, a set, yeah. Star Fox Rocket Roll. Team Star Fox find themselves hired to protect a long uncharted galaxy that faces imminent destructions by the hands of rock creatures called Groks. If that sounds familiar, it should, because Team Star Fox are joined by this galaxy's most renowned Grok-smashing bounty hunter, Armadillon. Surprise! It's a Dylan Star Fox crossover. Dylan's Dead Heat Breakers was very bold for how many simple but fun gameplay styles you'd cycle through as the days and nights rolled by. So why not incorporate Star Fox's rail shooting and dogfights into the mix? That, and they're both sci-fi series with cats of anthropomorphic animals, it's too perfect. Custom-Robo Holocene.
A new Custom-Robo game that follows in the series tradition of featuring a new cast of human characters and blah 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 blah, but the campaign won't be quite as meaty as past entries. But it'll make up for that by being a budget title whose multiplayer can be downloaded for free as a separate title for NSO subscribers. Kinda like the free version of Tetris 99 and the full version of Tetris 99. You know, one is substantial enough and has a satisfying loop, but the other has more meat on the bones. What better way to make the series more viable in the tournament/party scene, while also enticing the core Nintendo audience to experience the whole package? Super Bowser Odyssey. A short sequel taking place immediately after Mario Odyssey, this game gives you control of Bowser as he makes his way off the moon and back to his own kingdom. Short, sweet, simple, yet stupendous like Bowser's Fury, but hopefully not exclusively tethered to a $60 port this time. My Nintendo Experience. Pre-installed software on a future Nintendo system that recaptures the joy of Wii U/3DS era menus without sacrificing the convenience of... You can customize your Miis, use themes in the dedicated areas, check your playtimes and other records, browse a newly relaunched Miiverse, take part in Street Pass, go to the arcade and win badges, user icons, and stuff like that, redeem My Nintendo points, launch games straight from there as if it were a menu, and etc, etc. I think you get the picture. Tank Troopers 2. It's like the first Tank Troopers, but now with a story mode and not just random missions. And online multiplayer. Weird that the first game didn't have it. And would also have new troopers and tanks and levels, and yeah, you get the idea. It's a sequel. What do you want? Nintendogs plus other pets. It's Nintendogs, but also there's other pets. Cats, aquarium fish, reptiles, rodents, birds, horses. Oh my gosh. Nintendo, if you make the first AAA Horse Girl game, you'll make billions overnight.
Hey, may I offer a suggestion?
Sure.
Maybe make it a game that links up with some sort of Nintendogs Plus app. I think the future of this series, whenever it resurfaces, is individual playtime and trainings on mobile, and group fun and activities on console.
Huh. Makes sense to me. That's probably what they'll do.
What they will do, or what they should do?
This feels like foreshadowing.
Ganondorf Gauntlet. A Zelda fighting game featuring fresh takes on the Triforce Trio and an original cast of fighters made up of various Zelda races. It'd take place somewhere on the Zelda timeline so separate from any other point it might as well be an alternate universe. I don't care if it's an Arc System Works co-developed 2D fighting game or a Namco co-developed 3D fighting game, just as long as it's stylish as all get out and incorporates iconic Zelda items somehow. Balloon Trip Burst. The Nintendo Land attraction Balloon Trip Breeze was so fun, and it still shocks me that it was never expanded into a fully fledged eShop title. Balloon Trip Burst would finally do this, though maybe replace the theme park aesthetic with something different. Mayhaps a puppet show, or a rubber hose cartoon, or do nothing and keep it as it was, I don't care, as long as it keeps the stylus control. Probably one of the only action games I've ever played where it feels better than buttons and sticks. Poke Park 3, subtitle pending. A new Poke Park game as close to the last one as possible, but with, you know, more. Okay, so that pitch wasn't very good, but future generations need a new Poke Park, man. I need one, for crying out loud. More Pokemon Snap. That title may sound stupid when you first hear it, but for the game I'm imagining, one that simultaneously makes use of the good stuff introduced in new Pokemon Snap while refining the experience to be as good as the original Pokemon Snap, the title More Pokemon Snap is weirdly perfect. I'll elaborate on what I mean by refining the experience in a future dedicated video someday. I've got so many opinions on Pokemon Snap, you have no idea. Pushmo Quest. The OG Pushmo titles have all had the simple setup of, oh no, the kids and or birds are stuck in the playground. And that's cute and all, but can't they just this once be apprehended by the forces of evil and in need of a hero who'll embark on a perilous journey to set them free? An expanded Pushmo experience could easily bring the series puzzles into the context of an Ocarina of Time-esque dungeon crawler. Kirby's Coliseum, a Mario Party clone with a lovingly crafted Kirby skin. There have been so many multiplayer minigames across the Kirby series and so much potential still for more. How has this not happened yet? And no, Battle Royale doesn't count. Party games don't fly on handhelds, brother. Super Mario Forever. A Battle Royale built off Super Mario Bros. 35, it'd feature that gameplay style with courses from other 2D Mario games thrown in, including some utilizing Mario Maker content as built by staff. Excitebots Trick Rally. A sequel to Excitebots Trick Racing that introduces new modes. One sort of Tony Hawk-esque where you go for points in an open arena without worrying about the race, and a combat mode that'd be like Twisted Metal meets Mario Kart Battle Mode. Freaky sweet, eh, Lewis? Splathletics. A Wii Sports-esque game in the Splatoon universe. The Splatooniverse. Yeah, why not? Got a good ring to it. I haven't got any specific ideas for individual Splatoony sports, but I honestly just want to see what a Woohoo Island trotting type game looks like in the Splatooniverse. The first game screamed summer vacation in my mind, and for some reason the sequels haven't quite matched that vibe. I think mixing Wii Sports Resort with Splatoon might just be a recipe for success. Animal Crossing Sweet Home. Rather than mayor, you are now a tycoon who owns a chain of apartment and hotel suites in a tourist-trapped town neighboring a couple big cities. Now, instead of simply paying back the raccoon, the villagers line your pockets, which you can use to gussy things up and all that. And people on the internet will make jokes about how there was an old horror game called Sweet Home. Ha 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 ha, what? Animal Crossing and horror? This is crazy. Animal Crossing isn't supposed to be doom. Star Tropics. A full reimagining of the long-neglected NES cult classic adventure game that plays like Ocarina of Time, looks like Mario Odyssey, oozes with wanderlust like games haven't quite been able to recapture since the days of the internet rolled by and sort of demystified things, and would be referred to as Star Tropics: year it released by the gaming public. Nintendo Artist Studio. An experience that combines all the best elements of Art Academy, Flipnote, Mario Paint, Mario Artist, basically the ultimate art/animation tool loaded up with Nintendo flair. Aesthetically, it would be very true to life, like Clubhouse Games, for example. But Vince from Art Academy would be the main mascot guy. He deserves to keep his job. Ooh, and Nikki too, I guess, and yeah, the frog can be there too. You know, just bring everybody in, why do I care? Stronghold of Umbra, a spin-off game starring Midna from Twilight Princess. Some villain turned her into an imp again and imprisoned her within the titular stronghold. Now you must embark on what is essentially a Metroidvania that plays like 3D Zelda to escape the stronghold and return to your former form. Whew! How many was that? 26? Oh, I'm only halfway through! Do I dare just reiterate stuff I've talked about before? I dare. A new Mario Kart that takes cues from Diddy Kong Racing for a single-player mode. I'd call it Mario Kart Off-Road. I've mentioned ideas here and there for this in these old videos of mine. Super Mario and Friends, a 2D Mario game with multiple storylines featuring several playable characters. 2-player co-op encouraged but not required. Many more details can be found in this old video of mine. Mach Rider Renegade. This one I actually wasn't too specific about in this old video of mine, so this will be fun. A AAA Metroid Prime style remounting of the long-neglected post-apocalyptic vehicular combat/shooter game, Mach Rider. A game where you must put the pedal to the metal to take down a crime lord and protect a town that could hold our last hope of rebuilding civilization. Cinematic, flashy, open world, or at least open zone, what could be better? ARMS 2. I have way too many ideas for this and have spoken detail about a lot of them in this old video of mine, but I left a lot on the table. But let's be real, I'll probably make a whole video that explores this more deeply in the future, so let's just move on for now. Codename Steam, Legends in Peril. A direct sequel to Codename Steam whose plot concerns the organization being informally disbanded by the world powers, but forced to stay together independently when the majority of their agents are kidnapped and taken hostage at different corners of the globe by villains from classic literature who plan to destroy them and take over the world. More details can be found in this old video of mine. Wario and Waluigi World. A 3D platformer where you play as both Wario and Waluigi as they perform Whiplash/Twinsanity style cartoon violence hijinks on one another, embarking on a mission to collect enough treasure to build a bridge made of treasure to an alluring treasured chest that mysteriously appeared on the other side of an uncrossable chasm in Wario's castle's treasure room. This very specific setup is important to me because it is so stupid when you break it down like that, but just as a goal in a collectathon game, it's just about as straightforward of a motivator as you'll ever need. Freaky Forms Universe. A 3D Freaky Forms game. Don't know what Freaky Forms is? Watch this video I made about it, then think about what that'd be like in a 3D realm. Also, I talked about it in this old video of mine. Super Mario Maker 3D. Everyone and their grandmas had this idea, but come on, it's too perfect. Also, I think I mentioned it in this old video for like 2 seconds, maybe? Eternal Darkness 2. Sorry that I haven't got any specific story pitch for this one, but come on. Nintendo holds the patent for the OG game's sanity meter, which plays tricks on the actual player the lower it gets. As I've mentioned in this old video of mine, it'd be all too easy to effectively psych players out incorporating stuff not possible in the GameCube era, like going to the home menu or Joy-Con drift.
Oh my gosh, imagine if Nintendo had the gall to make this a launch title for their next console. That would be both the best thing from an immersion standpoint and the worst thing from a large-scale marketing standpoint. So probably not going to happen. But could you imagine all the glitches and bugs happening in the game due to your insanity meter? Players and streamers wouldn't know if they're part of the game or something going on with their day one system. Maybe they got a lemon or something.
So is that something they should or shouldn't do?
Shouldn't you formally introduce me already?
Don't tell me what to do.
But that's my thing.
Pick Metroid. As mentioned in this old video of mine, both from a mechanical and literal sense, it's a Pikmin Metroid crossover. You play as a Hakatate captain and use Pikmin-like power-ups that expand the map as you collect them. But the twist is, you stay in the same map the whole time and it's just a small part of a bigger facility. The computers, air ducts, garbage chute, stuff like that. The game ends when you've collected every required treasure and beaten every boss before a certain number of days. Also, incorporate escape sequences somehow, it's just so Metroid.
Francis! What are you doing in there? Aunt Handabelle, I didn't realize you were in the neighborhood.
Are you talking to strangers on the internet about that stupid thing I told those guys to curse you with unwavering love for? Don't you have any original ideas in that mashugana head of yours?
Well, I guess I've got a couple original... Wait, that was you?
Half Elites, a completely new IP made in collaboration with Vanpool and Vitae. It'd be a 3D on-foot racer with characters who can equip different lower halves featuring world building and passive storytelling accomplished using the Splatoon ARMS method. Also, the characters would have an infusion of zaniness typical of Western cartoons, mixed with that typical Japanese but aiming for an international market design look. Very Imamura-esque. Puppet Players, I'm not married to that working title. A game where you use the Joy-Cons or an equivalent controller to simulate performing a puppet. You can build puppets in workshop mode or just use the ones the game comes with. There'd be all sorts of possible building techniques and unique mechanisms to try your hand at. The game could provide lessons and performance/building tips in an optional mode if players so choose. There'd also be something of a sandbox mode where you can play with/record your puppet performing. And maybe you could throw in some party games like a karaoke mode that scores you based on your lip syncing, or a dancing mode that scores you on how well you can make your puppet match another character's moves. Maybe I'm just insanely biased, but I think this would be both fun and a great gateway game for aspiring puppeteers.
Francis, shut up. It's 1:68 p.m.
Oh no, not exploding time.
No, you fool. Shrinking into oblivion time.
I hate unannounced visitors. Oh, what is it now?
Sock, relax. It's me again. Do you want me to bring up my 5 ideas now? Like we planned earlier?
I guess now's as good a time as any.
Then it's high time I tell your audience. This is what they should do. So Sock, I see you already brought back Star Tropics and Mach Rider, but how could you forget about the original retro IP that made everyone say, huh, they should really make a new one of those? Ice Climbers, but as a dramatic third-person adventure game. Give it the old Sony treatment. I feel like everyone's had this idea with the Ice Climbers IP specifically. Picture like a mix between the new Tomb Raider and Uncharted games, throw in a pinch of FromSoft's Souls-like combat, and you've got yourself a winner. You could either take an approach of 2 climbers that are separated from one another, gives you some real new age God of War vibes, or be more of a cooperative experience, filled with 2-player platforming sessions a la It Takes Two, less grit and more whimsical. I can see it going either way, or being a weird mix of the two. It's the franchise revitalization that both no one and everyone has been waiting for. Remember that weird pinball real-time strategy game Nintendo published in the GameCube era? Odama? No? Well, imagine this. Odama 99. That frantic oddball gameplay, but with 99 other players as a battle royale style pinball RTS. What a mouthful. I'm imagining it'd be you versus 3 of the enemy armies to your north, east, and west of your battlefield. If you can defeat all 3 armies, or they defeat each other leaving just you, now your army is teleported to a new winners arena. The 25 winners are now going head-to-head in a 1v1 battle, with the winners of each match being filtered together tourney style until it's the final 2. It's a pinball fight until the last army standing. Here's a little trivia. After Next Level Games finished working on Mario Strikers Charged, they pitched a game called Super Mario Spikers. It was for a hybrid wrestling/volleyball game. It's a bit unclear of how far along it got past the initial conceptual pitch. Well, I think, what with all the heat Mario Strikers is under nowadays for lack of originality, I say the next step would be to embrace the chaos that a game like this original pitch for Mario Spikers would bring. Not sure how or if it would be balanced, but it sure would be fun pile-driving Bowser so your teammate can score some points. One idea, to add to the craziness, maybe a standard match would involve moving nets, or a large area filled with volleyball net choke points that you have to duke it out over. It's more of an arena-based volleyball game as opposed to just a standard net. I'm picturing a light Rumbleverse mixed with Mario Tennis gameplay style. As strange as that might be to imagine, it's a fun new crazy Mario sports game, while also remedying all the problems fans had with the last Mario Sports iteration, but that can of worms could be a whole separate video. Okay, so the next Fire Emblem game, I'm talking after any speculated remakes, the next mainline Fire Emblem, but in a gothic aesthetic and hopefully with a more subdued story. Think like Netflix's Castlevania. This aesthetic was rumored a few years ago and has kind of been stuck in my mind ever since. The main gameplay would be similar to what we know and love, but the core mechanic this time involves more of the terrain manipulation, with a greater focus on pushing and pulling your enemies to set them up just how you want it. Maybe give a few characters attributes like Override and Blazing Lion to make those setups even more rewarding. I tell ya, there's just something so satisfying about making a daisy chain of destruction in a strategy RPG. Pokemon Zoo Tycoon. I think the days may be gone of envisioning your collection as your own little herd of monsters. These days, it's all about catching as many of the little guys as possible and crushing them up to find the best one. But you gotta admit, there's a certain appeal to having your Pokemon Ranch, referencing the WiiWare game that accompanied Diamond and Pearl. So where am I going with this? Take the idea of displaying your precious Pokemon and add an element of customized stage editing. Think of it like this. Mario Maker was Nintendo's way of making an official version of all those Kaizo Mario hacks. Well, you know what other Nintendo franchise is hacked to bits? Pokemon. I'm not even saying to make custom Pokemon regions. I'm just saying make a customized zoo area to house and show off your collection. Yeah, programming trainers to use your Pokemon in their loadout would be neat, making your own custom challenge rooms, but that's a lot of work for Game Freak, and we know they need to take things slow. Let's start with a simple stage editor where you can place and manage your Pokemon habitats, and allow your friends and randos to come visit and admire your Pikachu or Gardevoir or whatever you got. Could be linked straight to your Pokemon Home app. Think of a mix of the island creation elements from Animal Crossing and the overworld management style of Zoo Tycoon. This just feels like it would tap into so many overlapping markets to me. I don't know. Seems like a win-win-win-win-win. Win.
Thanks, man. What a load off my mind.
Hey, no problem at all, Sock. Obsessing about things you wish video game companies were working on, it's just part of life. And you, yes you, watching at home, why don't you head over to my channel after this video to see 10 more ideas that Sock and I thought of together. See you there. Thanks again, Sock.
I love when he exits in some comedic way. I don't care what he says in the script, I think it's his strong suit. Anywho, now this video has officially done 43. Oh, come on, just 7 more. I know I've got other ideas in my Google Doc and past videos and just my head, but at this point I just want to rattle off the straddlers and be done already. If only there was a template gameplay formula that could be transposed onto several different Nintendo properties and still be uniquely exciting and distinct from existing titles just by merit of working within those parameters.
Mushroom Kingdom Warriors, a Super Mario Muso. Dreamland Warriors, a Kirby Muso. Skyland Warriors, a Kid Icarus Muso. Pokemon Warriors, a Pokemon Muso. DK Warriors, a Donkey Kong Muso. Subspace Warriors, a Super Smash Bros. Muso.
Wait! That's it! I've had an epiphany! I've got the perfect idea for a 50th pitch. Something totally new, but still based within a beloved property. I can see it all. The reveal trailer, the roster, the mechanics, the buttons, the text, the modes, the encompassing themes and design philosophy. Oh, it's so complete in my mind I could touch it. The 50th and final pitch I've got is something that deserves its own video. It'll be an ambitious project, but one I want to make sure I take the time to do right.
Well, dang. I guess we'd better subscribe so we can see it as soon as it's done. Don't forget to like and comment, too.
And don't forget to tap the bell for notifications, else YouTube might keep it out of your sub box for some reason.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Oh, please, please, everyone, this is just embarrassing. I'm perfectly capable of engagement baiting on my own. In an unscripted end slate over my Patreon credits, no less.
Woo! I owe a lot of people thanks for this video. Thank you, of course, for watching. Thank you to What They Should Do for collaborating. He's a real great guy who's got some great ideas and a great YouTube channel. We did a collab similar to this on his channel that you should totally go and check out. Big thanks, as always, to my Patreon patrons who are currently being credited on screen. If you would like to get special thanks just like them, you know, pledge to the show at least $1 a month to patreon.com/atalkingsock. Without my Patreon backers, this would be totally unsustainable. I would not be able to make videos without them. The dedicated video I teased just now at the end of this one, it may or may not end up being next month's video. I've already written it and filmed and recorded it, but I've got to create a lot of new assets for it. It's going to be a really big undertaking. Bigger than most stuff I do on this channel anyway. Till then, see you next time I see ya.